Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Shine Like a Diamond. Wonderful to have you with us today. Today, I'm very blessed with a beautiful brother, divine brother Richard Chambers. We connected, I feel maybe back in 2020 or 21, and we sat in circle where you were hosting a beautiful workshop that was 8 weeks. And yeah, we've sat in circle with satsang and then had a bit of a space away and watched each other's journey a little bit on Facebook. So yeah, it's great to have you with us and welcome aboard, brother.
Good to be here, Jacob. Thank you for having me and for the invite.
Yeah, well, it feels nice, to just connect in. I felt, even when you have those times away, I feel there's still a connection with what we've already shared, on our journey. And I do find Facebook amazing in that sense. It's like a great networker, and then you kind of see people on their journey, and you've had, I would say quite a profound journey, like even leading through your life with the things that you've experienced with it, being in hospital and your work amount and things like that, and then becoming, yeah, I think an amazing guide and what you brought through, and then having a shift, finding that was a lot happening, and then finding a different direction and guiding in another way. So yeah, it's wonderful to watch and be wonderful to share whatever you feel resonates.
Yeah, well, first of all, it's nice to have, that soul brother connection. And I was just get so excited seeing um, our divine masculine family really stepping into their hearts and embracing the journey of life and coming into a deeper understanding of themselves and what exactly we're here to do at this time of great planetary change. So I think when even going back 4 years ago, the the majority of people within the awakened or spiritual communities are so many women, right? And most of the time I would connect with another brother where just there's so much suffering that they were moving through. So I'm sharing this because I've seen this huge shift over this last year. Not saying that that's not occurring still, but I've also seen so many masculine starting to really open their hearts and see this. We're in this time of planetary change. And I've had people coming to me from all different walks of the earth, reaching out to me, high level of executives to, just, the average Joe who is saying that there's something happening on the planet right now. And that was it's a beautiful thing to see and experience that more people are becoming consciously aware of the great planetary changes that we're all experiencing. I think it is a really important time for us to be alive. When we look at it, like, why did we come into this exact time right now on the planet? Why have we been through all of the experiences that we have been through so far in our life to bring us to this point here right now? Like all the things that the lessons, the teachings, the embodiments that have helped, shape us to this precise moment where now we're seeing changes happen on the planet at a really rapid pace.
And so you've seen that right across the board, you're saying. So it's amazing that people from all walks of life are coming to you, and like you're saying, executives. So do you find, do they already have some connection with nature and the planet, or is something actually just come out of left field for them?
Yeah, I think when I'm seeing more executives that are coming forward, they're not really sure, what's happening. Like I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago where one of my clients said to me that I think something is happening on this planet and we're going through a huge spiritual awakening, and they have just been looking in how they can start giving back in other ways and where it wasn't even on their radar before. So um, I think there's different levels and layers to the awakening, and we're all supporting that grand picture or tapestry that's happening right now. But for us to really come into alignment is for us to really come back into the order with Mother Earth, with Pachamama and the planet. Is the more that we can um, remember our sacred connection with her, the more we're supported, the more we're in alignment with the planetary changes, and we're able to really um, be a gatekeeper for the new earth energies at this time. And before I get into this, I just wanted to also give a big hug and send my love to all of our divine feminine family that has really been holding so much space for the masculine and so much pace or patience for the masculine, over however many years that we've been really going through a bit of a transition from the patriarchal masculine into, the awakened masculine. Now, just as a bridge, being a gatekeeper for New Earth. And this is really about New Earth leadership, and it may not be exactly in the traditional way we look at leadership, because what we're speaking about is really having been integrated within our being and our consciousness, where we have, just let go of a lot of the things we're not. Okay, we've let go of, gone through the different levels of ego integration and spiritual ego integration. So we're not being driven by, service to self, status, and like unfulfilling motives that wouldn't be alignment with the planet. So we have right now a lot of new energy and divine intervention that's coming into the planet. And we also have the old energy and the old systems that are here. And I think that everyone wants to just leave the old systems and the old energy and jump right into, the diamond consciousness and the crystalline matrices and the higher, dimensional frequencies, but that's not really what it's about yet. Because we need to be here on the planet. We need to be here connected with Gaia. We need to be the guardian of the new earth energies, which means we have to have a foot in each world, in the old world and in the new world, and actually be able to understand what it is we're consenting to or allowing into the projects energetically. So we need gatekeepers who can walk between both worlds. So we can operate within the old world, within the old energetic systems, while holding those energies at bay. Okay. And that's something that's really important, because it's something that takes a very high level of mastery to walk between both and to not allow some of the, whether it's egoic energies or whether we want to use the terms like Watiko, the harmful or destructive energies that kind of create chaos within an energetic field. So through our journey of spiritual awakening or self-mastery and embodiment, when we step more into the leadership, we go through spiritual lessons and understanding what energies are kind of being allowed in or ushered in, what we're energetically consenting or allowing. Um, and I think for us to start to really organize ourselves on a global level to create global change, that is something that really isn't fully being organized by man or woman. Okay. Man and woman do have a vital role within that. I should say human beings. We have a vital role in that, but we're not the ones who are orchestrating ascension. It's being guided by Mother Earth, by, source consciousness. And so it's really two different, um, it's a different form of change. Okay. Because if you've been through a spiritual initiation that has been activated by a person, it's completely different than one that has been activated by the planet or one that has been activated by God and source. And that's where the level of mastery comes in, because we have to be in alignment with her, with the planet. We have to have our own consciousness that's organized, that's been brought into order. So our shadow has been organized and been brought into balance, between the shadow and light. So we're in a place of non-duality or more wholeness, where we're kind of walking this middle path, where we're not being pulled in one way or the other, but we're able to gatekeep that middle ground between the two worlds, like between the old energy and the new energy. I'm sharing this because I think this is a very powerful message, because you're going to have people listening to this that are running retreats, New Earth projects, building communities. I think the spiritual download that everyone's been receiving over the last few years was, I got to buy some land and get a spiritual community, right? And start, building that. That's one of the big ones. And we go through our spiritual tests and sovereignty and understanding how we actually gatekeep energies to make sure we're ready for that land. And so it can come into a harmonious space. And if we haven't been able to be what the Kogi call me Kwalamas, right? Because Kwalama means to be a filter between the spiritual and the material plane. We have to be that filter in this between the material and the spiritual plane within our projects. So the older energies aren't able to kind of just create disharmony and chaos. Um, so with that, I've just seen so many projects. Everyone has these big dreams, but how many of those dreams are coming into fruition? And how many of those dreams are kind of turning out a little bit different than what they had originally intended? That's usually because there's, like a third energy that's coming in and changing the alteration of that. So it doesn't turn out or manifest in the way which is its highest outcome. And that's just to clarify, like, what I mean by being, a guardian and being in that role of really taking like the new earth energies as sacred, but knowing we need to walk between both, because we're not ready to fully just jump into our diamond bodies and be in be in the full new earth communities yet. We're not there yet as a civilization. I think we're making steps towards that. But we also have a very real thing on this planet right now where there's a lot of fire energy, there's a lot of war energy, there's conflict, there's still a lot of ego, there's a lot of greed, there's a lot of healing that still needs to happen and occur. So the changes that are happening are also bringing up these energies. So as a steward, we need to be able to walk within that world without being consumed by it, to hold our ground, to not avoid it, while, bringing these projects into fruition.
Yeah, beautiful. So I feel, is that partly like asking the land if you have a vision of creating a community or something, to either do the inner work first and have that connection and speak with the earth, and then, if a place comes up saying, okay, is this the space, and talking to the land and having the land say, yes, this is the space, or no, not, this isn't for you.
Yeah. So I think it depends on the individual. I would definitely, if it was me, I would definitely be in communication with the land and seeing if the land even wants that to happen there.
Mhm.
Um, what the land actually needs, and if the land is ready to open to that, as opposed to what it is that I want, right? And if it's ready, the land will provide the space and it'll provide the land. So when I was in Colombia in the Sierra Nevada mountains, something that I found really interesting was the elders are always working to get more land back, to get land back from farmers, to get land back from mines, because there's a lot of mining that's kind of gone into this Sierra Nevada, and it's a very sacred place that has 25% of the world's biodiversity. Um, so when land is returned to them, I ask them, like, so what do you plant? Like, what do you grow? How do you know how to rehabilitate the land? And the first thing they do is they'll make a temple on the land. And after that, they'll just do their blessings and their offerings. And that temple is to represent the land being handed back over to Mother Earth from humans back to Mother Earth. And then they say they get out of the way because Mother Earth knows how to rehabilitate ourselves. And for us to think that we know better than her, right? That's the energy that needs to shift a little bit. But she knows exactly what she needs. If it's been a situation where things have been taken from the land, then it's like, we'll put it back. But other than that, she knows what to grow. She knows what she needs, and she's going to start, just building that habitat back. So I think in terms of knowing where we should be, it's definitely a download that would come in. It's a resonance. You're going to want to make sure you make offerings and payments to the land so that your consciousness is in order with Mother Earth, that there's been a level of reconciliation with the planet, because all of us live on this planet. We breathe the air, we eat the food, right? That grows here. We have such a beautiful place to live, but how in alignment are we living with understanding that sacred reciprocity and energy exchange that happens in every moment with her? So if the reciprocity isn't in balance, that's the first step, right? Before you can build the community and do all that, you have to bring balance to the reciprocity with Mother Earth, and then to see if you'll be received on the land, which I'm sure, as long as it's in alignment, you would.
Mm. Beautiful. Yeah, it's fascinating. I love what you're sharing, and I feel like you say this is a very important message. And yeah, it's speaking to me, and as you're talking, I'm reflecting, and I feel I have this in me. I can feel this connection. I'm very much drawn to Earth and care for the planet. And then there's things I know I still have in my life where I go, it's not quite in alignment with what I'm really sensing and honoring her. And I find it really interesting, like even just walking here at the moment, I've got a very comfortable house. And when I have to come back and like jump online or something, I'm like, going to the house, like, doesn't actually feel comfortable, you know. I actually feel all my comforts are out there just with nature and being with her, you know. And so finding that, okay, so what does that look like? How do I support myself in a living situation and still be really honoring that connection with the planet? And I do know, like, I really reflect and look at what I'm buying and where it comes from. Because I move around a lot, I don't have a garden, so and you're not always able to get organic food. I almost don't. buy non-organic food when I can't get organic food. I just find other ways of looking after myself, because you can white light it, or wash it under pure water and things like that, but it still doesn't speak to me, because I can feel the energies of everything that happened behind there for that you know turmeric to be produced, and what went along the way with the chemical sprays and everything. And I'm like, well, I don't want to support that, actually. Um,
Mm.
so I find that really interesting. So for people listening, to find themselves in this connection, and does it require initiation with the planet, or how do you see and assist people to be really relating from this place?
Mm. I think we're all going through that initiation with the planet now, right? And the more in alignment with her, the more in alignment our lives are coming. And the more out of alignment we are with her, I think the more chaos people are experiencing in their lives. So the deeper levels of initiation are definitely orchestrated by the planet or source to kind of really push us forward into these positions where we kind of have no choice but to really come back in order of our consciousness and have that come into like alignment with the planet. And I think that begins by simplifying our lives. We've become really complicated. I'm really not knowledgeable, but at the same time, not really knowing anything. We've actually walked farther away from ourselves, it feels like, over the last several generations, where things that were common knowledge and common sense, we don't think about anymore. Like how many people step outside and they can't even touch grass in a day? They're just on concrete, and they're on concrete sidewalks, roads, subways. You know, they don't even think to take a few moments to sit down, to connect with the planet, to or wake up in the morning to connect with the sun, to connect with the sun at sunset, greet the day like in the ancient Gatekeeper practices, where you would wake up before the sun has risen and just take some time to be grateful that the light bursts from the darkness. It's just part of creation. So to be grateful for the night, because it's the night that gives birth to the day. Um, we don't think about those things anymore, right?
Mm.
And this is a very like sacred balance that is actually within our DNA. So when we come into these natural practices of just really living, that's enough, right? That's enough. It's not, we can make this as complicated as we want, but that's not really source. That's more human. Like the human wants to complicate the spiritual journey and our connection with the planet. Where for me, it's something very simple. It's understanding that reciprocity. Am I giving back more than I'm taking? Is that energy exchange, in a positive flow? Because everything we do is a form of exchange. Every conversation we have, every interaction with people, with the planet, all of it, it's all an exchange. So is that exchange in balance? Because if that exchange is in balance, then my life is more in order. It's more peaceful. It's more harmonious. I'm starting to see and experience the beauty in everything. We don't need a master's degree to be able to connect with the planet, but it's as complicated for some people. And that's just where we're at, as a human civilization at this time. once we hit the 2000s, the number two, I do a lot of I Ching readings as well. I trained with some Taoist masters in understanding the art of the I Ching. And the number two represents information and technology. Okay. So there's a reason why we're here now, because we're in the age of information and technology. The number nine represents God, spirit, source, universal connection, the infinite, the eternal. So after 1999, a lot of those nines kind of disappeared. We went into the 2000s. So a lot of the children that are coming in now, they need guidance and remembering how to return back to their origins, back to connecting with the planet, because naturally they're going to be more attracted to information and technology. We're in the age of information and technology. So we're not here to necessarily change that part, but we are here to make it, to live in more of a holistic way. Because without that balance, we're going to be kind of going down the wrong path. It's very important that we see the planet has its own agenda right now. So we can have all the information and technology, but if that reciprocity, if we're forgetting about the planet and how all of this like flows together, where we're living on the planet. We are of the planet. We are of nature. Our bodies are made up of the elements it's an earth body that's been created by her. So all of this has to come into the equation, like of this, togetherness with her, because that's how we're truly supported. So the more we walk away from her, we're truly walking away from ourselves and forgetting who we are as well. The body is such a beautiful vehicle for the soul. We wouldn't be able to have this experience if we didn't have these amazing earth bodies. The earth body is the one that's really having the experience right now. And it's, there's a lot of different pieces I kind of brought in there. Is there any one of those you wanted to speak into?
I feel you're flowing nicely. Like, yeah, I'm just watching that. I feel it's really good because I really like how sharing and you go in a direction and then something else comes in and then you flow in that. So that's kind of how I flow as well. So I did have something, but it was a little bit yeah, I feel if you want to just carry on where you're at, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an interesting thing because I think there's so much fear on the planet right now. And we're all creators. We have this beautiful creational life force within us. And when we're able to really, come into our authenticity, which again is something simple, it's just letting go of the things you're not, letting go of the things that you've been told you are or what you're going to be, and just letting everything go until the only thing left is you. Right. And that place, when we can speak from that place, that's where we're really able to start to um, manifest change. And I say that because there's so much fear on the planet. And I think as humanity, we find a way to be scared of everything. So we find ways to be scared of technology, and we find ways to be scared of everything in life. And it's really about the energy that we're creating from and that intention behind it. So if we are, in a good, balanced, aligned, authentic place, and our intentions are right, then most of the time we're going to manifest something that is a positive experience and a positive response that's going to be created in the right way. If we are coming from our wounded self or our shadow, and there's the intention of fear behind it, then we are going to have that polarity experience, right?
Mm.
There's, as creators, we can experience anything we pretty much want on this planet. So if we're in polarity where we're constantly pointing fingers or fighting and warring, then that's what the experiences you're going to have because that's what we're choosing. But when we understand that, we stop engaging in the creation of those energies and further playing into the suffering, right? I think that's what it's about. Like, there's a certain point where we say, wow, I'm done suffering. And I know there's so much that's here. But when we awaken kind of to grace, we realize that suffering is such a powerful teacher, but it's also kind of the hard way, you know? So we get what we ask for and we get what we create. And it comes from the pureness of our intention and our integration as a being and our willingness to understand that there's a higher power at work that's also supporting us. You know, I truly believe that God, source, the planet wants all of us to succeed. So, how is it we come into alignment with that? You know, how do we wake up every day and allow consciousness to work through us? And so we can all come together with our desired goals instead of finding the ways for that not to manifest. Because that's really more of us being in a place of conflict with ourselves and with the planet. And I think, yeah, that's a big message because as simple as it is, it really takes people a long time to get to that in their lives. You know, I think we've all had some of those rock bottom moments in our life where we're, let's say, that's it. You know, I'm done suffering. I'm done moving through my life in the way that I have been, and it's time for something different. And then you go through another cycle of that. And each time you go through that realization, a part of yourself comes back. You know, they say there's many paths to the top of the mountain, right? Some of us, we got to do a few laps around. Some of us will go up in a zigzag. Some of us go up, down, up, down. Most of us don't take a straight line, but when you start to realize there's a quicker way to the top, like, you know, on the path, an easier way, I think that's where we're coming to if we choose that, you know, with our awareness and understand what it is we're actually like creating in our lives, what we're consenting to, what we're allowing, and what the agreements are. Like, what are the agreements we've made that have manifested the reality we're in and experiencing every day? Because we've all agreed to it in one way, shape, or form, whether it's through our like beliefs, our subconscious like patterns, our trauma, our wounds, from not properly understanding our yeses and our nos. You know, we've made these contracts and agreements that are manifesting the reality that we're in. So, part of taking our power back is really first knowing that we have a level of responsibility to bring all of that into order. That's what I mean by organizing the consciousness, because people hear that and they're like, what is he saying? Bring my consciousness into order. That's understanding there is shadow and there is light. And I'm not saying darkness and evil. I'm saying there's shadow and there's light. We see this in representations everywhere. Every day there's a night and there's also a day. So we have sunlight and we have nighttime, right? That's kind of like what our consciousness is about. We have the shadow, which is the dream time, which is the womb space, which is the divine feminine consciousness, the mother consciousness, the no time space window that we're able to really create and organize and bring things into order so it can birth into the light. So we have to organize our shadow, organize our subconscious to then bring that into order into the light. If we're fighting the shadow or we're fighting the darkness, what are we creating in the light? Right? We're fighting ourselves, we're in conflict within ourselves, and we're fighting reality. We're fighting the very essence of nature. And that was a big one. Like, okay, how much of myself have I been fighting? How much of reality have I been in conflict instead of organizing it that I have been fearful of or fighting, which creates suffering, right? So, we dream for 1/3 of our lives. 1/3 of our lives we're sleeping. That's wild to think about,
It is.
you know? And everyone's like, yeah, uh, dreaming doesn't do anything for us. Do we really think that dreaming doesn't do anything for us? Or how many people are scared of sleeping? Right? Because they're going through psychic attacks or whatever, you know, occurs in dream time, and they're scared to go to sleep.
Mm.
Well, if you think about it, dream time is healing, because if we don't sleep, how many days can we go without sleeping? You can't. We have to sleep at some point. And when we do, we wake up and we feel better. Why do we feel better? Because our consciousness is being organized, the subconscious, the shadow is being organized. And as a human race, we've forgotten how to dream, because the dream time holds a lot of power. And we used to know how to energetically do these things in dream time. So we could manifest quicker in the daytime in the light and to bring all of ourself into order. So we do a lot of organization of our consciousness in the shadow time, like in nighttime and dream time. Now, there's many different indigenous cultures that are dream walkers and dream healers. And there's a reason for this, because, the Kogi and the Sierra also, shared this with me, that when someone in their community is sick, they may make some, plant medicine tinctures and have a couple herbal remedies, but they ask them to go to sleep. And when they go to sleep with them, and they go in dream time into the ancestral villages and find their soul. And they ask the soul, what is it you need for healing? They connect with the spirit and the soul in dream time, and then they wake up and they're healed. They've healed cancer and all kinds of things. We focus just on the daytime, where you can do it in the daytime, but man, are you going to have to work if you're not organizing? It's going to take 100 to a million times longer, because that shadow space is the subconscious, like realms. It's the no time window. It's where you can do things that aren't in the limitations of time. So, organizing our consciousness so we can just understand really how to live. That's why I say it's so important, because Mother Earth is asking us to remember these things that are being spoken about. So, like, as humanity, we need to remember how to dream. The elders have this vision of they actually collectively dream as a group. Like they'll have all have the same dream. And they've all been dreaming about humanity awakening. And they have that same dream all the time because they choose to have the dream and hold the highest vision for humanity. And it's, I've seen this as well where we all start dreaming the same dream and we start waking up. And I think this is one of the ways a lot of people are waking up right now, whether they're conscious of what's happening in dream time or not. I feel like they're starting to have that dream and they're starting to awaken. More parts of themselves are coming back through that. So, I mean, that's a big topic we just opened there. But at the end of the day, what we're talking about is understanding nature, right? Um, how many of us just go to bed and we're like, all right, yeah, I don't know what happened, but hey, let's start the next day. And so how do we bring the importance back to dream time? As this thing, I read something on a monk that certain lineage of monks, um, and they practice waking up every time they go to sleep. One of the biggest things is they practice how they wake up and how they greet the day, how they get out of bed when their eyes first open. What is the level of engagement they are bringing into that first breath of awakening? And I heard this and I thought, like, this is one of their main practices where they are practicing how to get out of bed. And I say, like, so spirituality, all this sounds very simple, right? Humans make it complicated. But when you ask them why they're doing that, they're doing that because when they cross over after this lifetime, they want to wake up into the highest version or incarnation or lifetime or whatever realm of consciousness they're going into. So they see they're waking up as a practice for them to wake up into their next lifetime or whatever dimensional realm of consciousness they're going into. And when I heard that and just, with the dream work that I've been doing for myself and that it just was like, wow, how unconscious have I been about how I wake up? And you think it's like you wake up, you hit the snooze button, right? You want to go back to sleep. You don't want to start your day. So, what are we really bringing forward into our day? How are we greeting the day? And that kind of stuck with me, on a very, very deep level where I think, one time I would have read that and been like, it's not that important. But I truly, get that after just spending so much time in the jungle and, um, being with the elders and then bringing that back in my own way to understand, how to live life between both worlds and how do we, whether we're in the city or whether we're in, a beautiful area on the planet, how do we bring these practices forward that are going to make a difference in our life every day, right? How do we organize our consciousness? How do we come into alignment with actually living and being able to receive the messages from Mother Earth? Because she's speaking with us every single day. Like I go outside my house and there are so many messages in the clouds like I receive every day. You can receive, the messages from the wind, from the birds, from the animals, from the plants. There's messages everywhere, but most of us aren't listening.
Yeah, a lot of us are walking with our heads down, thinking about everything else, but where we actually are in that moment. And that,
Mm.
so yeah, it's beautiful what you're sharing. Yeah, it's profound. It's really special and yeah, again, simple. the simplicity of it is just so, that's the profoundness. I just love listening, and everything that you've journeyed through with your own journey, and where you've been, and the connections that you've made, and it assisted you, and then finding that within yourself, because um, you have connected with a lot of people, and a lot of people would look at you saying, you've got it sorted. And you're like, no, I haven't got it sorted. Actually, I didn't. I was way away from what it's truly about. And I feel that's really precious to hear as well, how you can take full ownership of that, and really embody what it is truly to be spiritual, and why we are here, and our connection with the planet. And yeah, the dreams, what you're sharing about the dreams, it's really fascinating. I just wonder, for someone to start to have dreams, assist them. Like, I have heard different people with dreams, and they, like, they have an intention before they go to dream into dream world. And I've had it at times, and I do remember my dreams better, or I actually see some lessons in my dreams, or I've actually even been in a school of some kind, and I come out and I feel like satisfied, like I achieved something, and things like that. So yeah, it's really beautiful. So for, yeah, people, how would they connect in a more deeper way with their dreams?
I have a feeling just after this conversation, there's going to be, a lot of people saying that they started to remember their dreams again. And there is a level of, activation and everything that's being shared today as well. Um, Now, if you wanted to support your dreaming practice, I think, first of all, what kind of state are you going to sleep in? Like, have you watched TV or scrolled right up to you're about to close your eyes? Because if you have, now you're going to be organizing that in your dream time. Whatever it was you were inputting into yourself, that you were allowing in. So usually you want to have 2 hours of no tech, no blue screens before bedtime. And you want to have a form of practice that's allowing you to come into your heart. So whether it's 15 minutes of gratitude meditation, or, compassion, or just whatever it is you do or need to do to get yourself into your heart space. Because when you're in your heart space and you go to sleep, you're going to be dreaming at a different frequency. You've already done some of the minor organization of things that may have come up from the day. And you're kind of prepared to go to sleep now and dream about bigger things. If you haven't done that and given yourself the time for that, and you just throw yourself into bed like many of us do, then your dreams are going to be organizing whatever you didn't in the day. So once you understand that, then you know how important it is to go to sleep at a certain frequency, right? And that's why they say don't go to sleep angry. You're going to have nightmares. So do what you can to gratitude meditation is probably, or just naming everything you're grateful for, right? Doing something to really open your heart and come into a good space. Think about the things you love and what makes you happy. Then when you're ready to go to sleep, I have a very simple dreaming practice, but it works for me. I created my own like dreaming mantra. So create one that feels good to you, that resonates with you. I would say something like, I will remember my dreams. I'm in control of my dreams. And I'll repeat that, several times out loud. Then I'll say whatever the thing I want to work on within my dream times, I'll state that intention. So if I have pain in my body, this is a good one. So if I have pain in my body, remember I said we got to look at the daytime and the nighttime, the light and the shadow. So when you're in the daytime, you can actually acknowledge things as a dream. So if there's pain in your body and you say, this lower pain in my back is a dream, you're already starting to prepare to bring that into the dream realm. So every time it comes up, you're like, oh, I'm not going to deal with this here. I'm going to work on this in the dream time. My lower back pain is a dream. My lower back pain is a dream. So then when you go to prepare for dreaming time now at nighttime, after you start saying your dreaming mantra, and then I'll set the intention to heal or bring the solution for my back. This is just as an example. And I'll say I'm going to connect with my spirit and my soul in dream time and work on my lower back pain or bring the healing solution for that. So I do my dream mantra, I'll state a few things, and then I'll go into my dreaming. Once you're into dreaming, this may work for you right away. It may take a little bit of practice, and no, that's okay. But if you're consistent with it, it will start to happen and you will start to consciously dream. And then when you're dreaming, you need to pay attention to what the themes are in the dream, because we have different types of dreams. So sometimes we tend to focus on like what's directly in front of us. And that's not always, your dreams are going to sound crazy sometimes when that's what you're focusing on. Instead, you want to look at what are the messages in the background? What are the colors that were in my dream? What was the energy in my dream? What was the feeling and the emotion that was in my dream? Because, that's going to help you interpret the messages of the dream. And when you wake up, we have to now bring that from the shadow, from the dream time into the waking time. So this is why it's important to talk about your dreams as soon as you wake up. If you have a partner, talk about your dreams with them. If they're not open to that, journal, write. I encourage journaling with dreams because you may be working on a particular issue for several dreams, several nights, and over a period of a month. So you're only getting small pieces of it each night, or you're getting multiple pieces of different things that you're working on. So when you look back at your dreams over a month, you start to say like, wow, look at this ancestral pattern I've been healing, or there was a lot of fear that was being experienced. So I've been going through, this part of myself that went through a traumatic experience, is going through this like healing right now, and you can feel that. So that's just an example, but that's probably the easiest way to get started. And I think if anyone follows that, you're going to have a huge shift in the way you look at dream time in general. And on top of that, like, remember how important it is to dream. Like, it's naturally healing. When you wake up, your body is going to feel better because you slept. So, the source consciousness is there to support you. If you're in fear about going to sleep, and there's a part of usually like the soul that's gone through a level of like torment or fracturing or splitting, right? So that part of you needs to integrate, and it needs love, and it needs to be, brought back into the wholeness, not to be fought with, right? Not to cast it back out and get caught up in all the other stories we can tell ourselves about dream time. Because when we understand how to dream properly and we understand the importance of dreaming, it has profound changes on your life.
Yeah, I can feel that. It's beautiful. I was just reflecting when you were sharing, because I had an experience, and I wasn't focused on my dream, but it was totally about when I went to sleep, and I had some tooth pain, and I went to the dentist, and she did two fillings, and one was way worse than what the X-ray showed, and she said, "Oh, actually, it's almost too far gone. Maybe we're gonna have to pull it out." And I was going back the following week to get three done down the bottom, and one of those was the same. And all that week, I had pain in that top tooth. And when she did the bottom three, she said, "Yeah, there's one also down the bottom that's really similar. Like, it's way worse than what the X-ray showed, and almost too far gone. I have put a filling in it. What do you want to do?" I'm kind of saying we're probably going to have to pull them. And I said, just leave it with me. And it was just before Christmas as well. So I was like, I'm not going to see a dentist, but I was like, I feel to just, experience this and see what it's about and what I can do. And when this is about 5 years ago, I felt at that time there's a purpose in the pain. So when I'm in that situation, I just sit with the pain. I don't take anything to try and make it feel better. I just stay with it and observe. And then in the evening, when I went to bed, I just did an intention that overnight my teeth will heal. And in the morning, when I wake up, they'll be fine. And yeah, that's what happened. I woke up and I've never had a problem with them ever. They've just been sweet. But I didn't really relate that to dreaming and what can happen in dreaming. So yeah, it's really special what you've shared here, and I feel it'll assist so many who are here to receive it, shall we say?
Yeah, and there's also like certain alignments, like astrologically, that support dreaming too. So, like every solstice, there's a 7 day dreaming window where we can open or unlock the eternal wisdom of the soul, right? So, the more that we're um, in alignment and practice our dreaming, the more profound things that can happen and awaken within us. And I think another interesting point is that we're shifting. Well, the elders say this is that we're moving from a cycle of shapes and symbols into a cycle of dreaming now. So the dreaming consciousness is actually coming into the waking world as well. And what that means is those that know how to dream will be able to walk between both worlds and be able to manifest things far quicker. And to me, when I was meditating, I'm like, so what does this mean that we have a new cycle of consciousness, of this dreamscape consciousness that's happening at this time? And I'm like, well, it's ascension, right? Because it is this kind of mysterious, this um, no time space ability to walk through like multiple dimensions and worlds at the same time. And if you know how to do that, then you can manifest things really fast. So we're going to start to see an increase in our manifestation abilities over the next, few years. And it's really comes from the shadow, right? Because we talked about the shadow being like the womb space. So it's where we're deep in the abyss and the feminine like consciousness and the birthing and the creation and the organization. So we have this ability to do that to even heightened level that's just going to start to, I think, manifest some really interesting ways of learning for humanity, because some of the traditional ways I just don't think will be serving everyone quite the same. I think a lot's going to open up, but it's really up to us to come into that alignment so we're able to even receive that, which I have faith that we'll get there, right? I think it's a lot of fun as well to know that we're really here at a beautiful time on a planet. Um, so with all of the old world energies, it always hurts my heart to see how many people are still suffering, and still playing into the old dynamics. And I know it all serves a purpose, but humanity is also being asked right now to do something different. Okay. We're asked to think differently, to make different choices, to behave differently, to restore the balance of reciprocity, and to ask why. Like, why have we done it this way? Why have I been living my life this way? Who am I living my life for? And there's going to be some pretty profound changes. And I think all of the events that are happening on the planet are coming up to create more awareness. So, yeah. And it's what a great opportunity it is to be here with you and to have this conversation about these things.
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, I feel real so blessed, brother. Like what you've shared, has really touched me. It's excited me as well. I've felt a lot of excitement coming through. I resonate with a lot you say. However, still feel very far removed from it, and certainly nowhere near an embodiment of it. So I appreciate you coming on and yeah, lighting that fire in me and helping me reassess myself, and my life and my relationship with myself and even, the podcast and, what it's about and everything, what name I use, because that also came up prior to this about shine like a diamond. And I resonated with that. And then I had a shift about when I was going to put myself out and I felt a new energy come in and I was like, "Oh, I'm not even sure I'm going to have the same name, but I couldn't really grasp what it was, so I feel that's even shifted in me now, with this conversation. So it's touched me on many levels, brother. Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
really, really grateful.
Yeah, I mean, we're here to be the light too, right? So, yeah, I've enjoyed this conversation as well, and just grateful to have that soul brother connection. And I think it's always great to be able to just really put out a grounded, masculine message for a masculine family as well, because there's going to be lots listening to this. And I really hope it sparks something within our masculine family. I know a lot of our divine feminine family are going to hear this and it's just going to resonate right away. But the divine masculine, I think it's going to shake some things up, especially like there's a lot of power that can create change, and we need to do this together, right? But it starts with ourselves first, and really remembering the basics, like to think like this, that the earth, we're actually borrowing the earth from our children, you know like what do we want to leave behind, for our children and for their children, and how has this gotten lost? Because I look at the world right now and it feels really scary for my children. When I think about what they may be experiencing in 20 or 30 years, we, um, as a collective consciousness, don't make this shift, right? I know there's a lot of us that are making the shift, but the more of us that can do this, the better footprint that's going to be left behind for future generations. And I think that starts with all of us really remembering how to live. And that might be a little different to each one of us, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's that resonance, isn't it? Finding that within ourselves. Okay, what is my expression? How do I stand in my center and express that heart love vibration out? Yeah, yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you so much, brother. I feel we can finish there. It's been magical, and I'm really grateful for you coming on and sharing your love light and heart with us. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And just sending everyone a big hug from my heart. And uh, just wishing you all the most amazing morning, afternoon, or day, wherever you are in the world. And that best of luck with your dreaming.
Thank you all for joining us. Really grateful. Much love to you all, and we'll see you next time.